listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
What Were You Thinking is brought to you by Dog.com. For everything and anything dog, shop Dog.com today for all the top brands. Greenies, Frontline, Kong, Nylabone, Royal Canin, and more. Shop at Dog.com and use the promo code SADTHINK, SADTHINK, and get $15 off your order of $75 or more.
You've had a long day at work, and you can't wait to just get home, take off your shoes, plop yourself down in your favorite chair, and relax. You walk up to your tranquil residential home and your neatly manicured lawn in your quiet suburban neighborhood, put the key in the lock, open the door, and... Yes, the pets have gone wild! What were you thinking? Welcome to the show about everything you always wanted to know about exotic pets, where to get them, what to feed them, and how to care for them. You'll even find out why some people live with a monkey. Now, here's your host, exotic pet expert and author Bob Tart. Hey, Bob, what were you thinking?
Hi, I'm Bob Tart, author of the books Enslaved by Ducks and Foul Weather, with a new one coming up. I'll mention that a little bit. And I'm here with my wife, Linda.
Hello.
And Linda, believe it or not, this is, what's today's date?
The 4th.
This is September 4th, and this is our first show of the year.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, so I've done other shows this year, but this is the first one you and I have done together. So, in general, I've been just kind of late doing a new show. The last one I recorded was in April, and I recorded it with book character Bill Holm. And after recording that show, I just kind of lost the will ever to do another one. Actually, what happened was I started getting really heavily involved writing my new book. I'm writing a book about our 6 cats, called The Funnel of Happiness. That's Funnel, the funnel of... I can't say funnel today. Can you say funnel?
Funnel.
Funnel. The funnel of happiness. And I'm just winding that up, so I've been so immersed in that I haven't really done any podcasts. So
we were going to do one at the beginning of summer, and then it just never happened. Don't know why.
I just never got my act together.
We thought about it.
Our
heart was in the right place. We just didn't follow through with it.
And then in April, I went to do a talk at a Audubon club in Ann Arbor, and Bill and I recorded a show, and I think the first half of the show went pretty good. I spared you listening to it. But the second half is, shall we say, a little bit more free form than usual. So I'm going to see if it can't be salvaged, and I will put that one together too. But and then tomorrow I'm going to lovely Muskegon Wastewater with Bill Holm, with book character Bill Holm.
And all you see is lots of birds.
Yeah, and so we'll probably record a show there because it should be humorous, because we're looking for shorebirds and warblers. And if most warblers or shorebirds sat on my head, I couldn't tell you which one they were. So,
well, that's not. You're pretty good at it.
So we'll see about that. Anyway, let's before we go right into it, let's tell people a little bit what the weather was like today, just because it's interesting compared to how it was last week at this time.
Last week at this time, it was it 92 degrees or 90?
Something like that.
Yeah.
We're in Michigan.
We got one of the hottest days of the year for the whole year a week ago. Was it on Sunday?
Sunday was the hottest day.
Yeah, it was 92, although we'd had several hot days all summer, so that was a surprise to me that was the hottest. But with the heat index, it was like 96, so that was considered the hottest day of the year. Today, different story.
What is the high temperature?
It didn't even get to 60, I don't think.
No, it didn't. We were out...
59.5 degrees.
Yeah, 59.5. We were doing some birding, but I should say we were doing some no birding. Because
attempted birding.
Yeah, that's how it turned out.
Hopeful to see a bird.
Yeah. So speaking of birds, we're going to talk about some of the birds that have been in our yard this summer. And I guess it's good we waited, because we've got a lot to say about the Cedar Waxwings, which is the end of the summer story.
Yeah.
But why don't you start us out talking about what our first visitor to the yard was?
Well, the reason I can remember the date on this was it was Mother's Day. It was the very first thing in the morning on a Sunday, right? It would have been a Sunday morning. I looked out the window, the kitchen window, and there seemed to be something moving out by this gourd house that is no one has touched it in the whole year and a half we've had it, and it seemed to be a bird going by that gourd.
We mostly hung it up because it was a present, and we like it.
Yeah.
But, it's one of those things you display because it was a present, because we've never had birds nest in a birdhouse before, so we didn't expect anything of it.
No, and I had been on the verge of taking that thing down for literally months because no one touches it, and it depresses me to think of nobody going in it. So I really was very seriously inclined towards taking the thing down. So it was moving back and forth, and suddenly I saw a bird around there. I said, Bob, there was a bird going in that thing. So he looked, and he said it was a wren.
Well, first we saw it in the bushes outside.
Is that where we first saw it?
Yeah, we had been looking for warblers, and I think we had just been to Roselle Park and saw just tons of yellow warblers. And then we came home, and you saw a bird out in the spirea bush. And we heard it singing, and I said, what the heck is that? It's a yellow warbler. And then I said, well, no, I don't know what it is. And then after I heard it a few more times, I said, good grief, it's a house wren. Now, a house wren is a very common bird for a lot of people, just like a house sparrow is a very common bird for a lot of people. How long have we lived here now?
Since you bought the house in '89, we got married in 1990.
So I've been here 20 or 21 summers. I forget how many summers it's actually been. And I can't say I've known birds that whole time. But
we never had house wrens.
No, we have never had a house wren.
So I felt this was a gift from God. The fact it came on Mother's Day morning, first thing in the morning, seeing this wren in the yard. And then we saw another one. We saw two on that first morning, didn't we?
No, it took quite a while to see the second.
That wasn't that first day?
No, it took quite a while because
I definitely saw the one that flew around and kept going in that hole.
I think we should tell people who haven't heard the show for a while what all this noise is in here.
Odie, the dove, is chasing everybody. Harvey the parakeet, Howard the dove, they're just madly chasing each other around the room.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what kind of a racket this is making. Probably people listening, all they're hearing are wings flapping, and in the background is their tiny, tiny little voices.
We hope you can hear us all right.
No, what happened was we kept seeing the bird going in and out, in and out, in and out of the gourd. But we
make a nest.
But we kind of were despairing after a while because the bird was coming in and out of the nest so many times that we thought, where's the female? What's going on? How come we're just seeing this one bird? And it was probably, I think it was maybe even a week or 2 weeks before we saw the male up in the tree singing, and then suddenly Linda said, I see another head sticking out.
At what point did we see him having a little fight with some bird on the ground as if the female didn't want to go in that thing?
Yeah, that's right. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, it was sort of a scrambling thing underneath on the ground and going upwards to as if he was saying, doggone it, you are going to go in there, like she didn't want to.
Yeah, I was reading in a book about bird behavior. It said that a male will prepare the nest for the female, and that after he prepares the nest, he shows it to the female.
If she likes the looks of it, she'll go. If she doesn't, so evidently she was overly picky, and no, not quite good enough.
So he was probably having a little scuffle with her, saying, no, you go back and take another look.
It's fine. It's really fine.
Yeah, I'm tired of building that darn thing. And I was a little bit afraid that nothing would happen after that because...
we never were convinced there was eggs in there.
Well, but even before that, after that little scuffle, it didn't seem like we saw any activity at all for a few days.
No.
And so I thought that the female had decided... that what would generally happen was the bird would come into the yard in the morning and start singing.
Stay for quite a while.
And then go off, and then...
He was gone all day, he'd come back late in the day.
That's how it seemed.
And sing for a while.
That's how it seemed.
Yeah. And that went on for weeks.
Yeah, it did.
Literally weeks. We did see both of them, though, around the yard during that period of time. However, not so much during the day. So what went on, I don't know. I honestly don't think there was eggs in there, but maybe they had a little home across the street, and he came over here to get away from the babies or something for a while.
I don't know. I saw them. I would see them going in and out, although you would think they'd be going in and out more. But I walked up to the gourd once when I was convinced that the birds had abandoned it. And I walked up to it.
Flew out in your face, didn't it?
Yeah, I first just sat there listening. And then I was convinced no one was there, so the gourd is just above my head. I tipped it over, and a bird flew right out, squawking, not happy at all. So, she's got to go check on her potatoes. How are those potatoes doing? Okay. So it's Saturday night. What did you want to watch on TV tonight?
Charlie
Chan movie. Now we're out of Warner Olin Charlie Chan movie, so it's back to Sidney Toller.
That's okay. He's good too.
Okay. So anyway, we would see these house wrens intermittently, and then one day
see them in the yard, and they bossed us around all the time.
Well, that's right. It got really bad. We're going to tell in a second what happened, but they started bossing us around more. And what would happen when we'd come outside?
They'd light in a tree near us and go like that. Like, you're in my yard, you're in my section of the yard, get out of here.
Yeah, they make a big chattering sound.
Big racket, yeah.
So anyway, our handyman, Gary, came over one day, and he came over to work on a fence post where we have a gate that had gotten
collapsing,
loose. Yeah. And so all of a sudden, Linda showed Gary the gourd, and he said, and the birds were flying around, and he said, I think there's 4 of them.
He saw one with a shorter tail, one or more with a shorter tail, which means there had to be babies.
Right. And so we didn't quite believe it at first.
No.
I mean, not that we don't believe Gary,
but we never
didn't
saw
see
little ones coming out of there.
So then I went outside right away, and I kind of hung around there for a while, and they seemed to be everywhere. And I saw 2 of them with a little short tail, and then I saw the 2 adults. So sure enough, there were 4.
I know there was 4. I saw all 4 together in that red bud tree out there at one point.
So this was quite something for us because, first of all, I keep track of how many species of birds we've had in our yard, and it's been, quite a while since we've had a new species because, we have lived here 20 years, so, that's 108 or 9 species.
Yeah. First time we ever had
a house wren, and first time
right on Mother's Day
we ever had any bird nest in a box.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It was a gift from God right on Mother's Day. There it was.
It seemed like they went away. I should remember what day it was. This is the odd part. I talked to people. A guy at work has house wrens. And as soon as the young came, fledged that day, and we saw 4 birds, they were just gone, weren't they?
They left. It was 2 or 3 days after Father's Day. Mm-hmm. That's when we quit seeing them for good. They did not come back at all after that. They just pretty much disappeared. It wasn't gradual. They disappeared right at that time.
So I guess what we're talking about is God rewards you by giving you birds. And then I see
the Lord give us, the Lord take it away.
Taking away by saying, you haven't been quite so good, so your birds are going bye-bye. Yeah. So I asked on the birding group why the birds. I'm on a birding listserv, email list, and I asked the experts why the birds would just abruptly leave, and I did not get an answer. So it may be not a very common thing. Yeah, but it was very funny because when the couple days we had those 4 birds in the yard, you could not go out in that yard without those birds flying at you and telling you giving you what for.
The parents taught the children to act like the adults.
Yeah, they did.
With that racket they put up.
Yeah.
They owned every tree in the yard, and they were very happy to tell us that we should move on.
Yeah. One kind of odd and interesting thing, and I also asked about this on the birding group and did not get an answer, and that was whether or not there is a cause and effect here. Every summer that I can remember, we have had a male indigo bunting landing out in a tree next to our barn and singing throughout the day. Now, when I say throughout the day,
real tall upper branches, and the branches are bare. When
I say throughout the day, I don't mean he's there all the time, but throughout the day he will light in that tree at some time and sing and sing and sing.
Not this year.
And then he'll move on to another tree across the street, and then he'll go away. But this year we did not get any until probably within the week after the house wrens left. then suddenly the male indigo bunting showed up on that tree again. How far would you say that tree is? I mean, that tree is like 200 feet maybe from. I mean, that's not
far away.
That's
from the
not
house.
anywhere near the nest.
No, nowhere.
I mean, it's on the other side of our yard, and then on the other side of the barn. But it just seems odd to me that on the 1 year that we have house wrens, while the house wrens are here, we had no indigo bunting. No,
Just whether it's coincidence, we don't know.
Yep,
but
I don't know.
Maybe they didn't like that.
Mm-hmm. So, moving on from a really enjoyable wild bird to not so much, you want to talk about the starlings?
The starling. Well, every year we get birds from Peg Markle in Grand Rapids, who has the Animal Rescue Center. And
Wildlife Rehab
Center, yeah. And she gets so many birds in that we have to I take the overflow sometimes if she gets too many of some kind of a bird. And
these are orphan birds that
fell out of nest or, a victim of the storms, whatever. She gets so many, she can't take care of them sometimes. So every late spring, early summer, we end up with some. Well, she sends starlings over sometimes, and that's all right. But this year I figured there'd be, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Bob went over there, came home with them, and there were actually 16, 17 birds. I think one passed away. But we ended up with 16 birds that we were taking care of starlings.
Now, what's the largest number we ever had before that?
Oh, gosh, I want to say 9 or 10. So Of all the birds that we take care of, the most raucous are starlings, the grackles, and the flickers are the loudest birds. But arguably, starlings are maybe the loudest. I mean, they will literally make your ears bleed, especially if there's a large number of them.
That's the problem. It's the large number.
It's a large number. They are loud, and you get 16 of them. You're talking mega loud. So that was quite the experience, taking care of that many at one time and I tried putting cotton in my ears and just tissue paper, anything to try to mute that sound a little bit. But they're very nice birds, but extremely loud. You don't want to have 16 at one time, believe me. And then they didn't want to go away.
No.
We released them. Sometimes when you release them, they come back for a couple of days. Not these. They had a buffet on top of the milk house where we fed them afterwards, and they just decided that was a good thing, and they wanted to live here forever. At least that's what we thought.
Oh, it was crazy at first because I remember it's either in Sleigh by Ducks or Fall Weather, I wrote about the starlings just coming after us when we would walk outside to after we released them.
Yeah, feed me, feed me, feed me.
Yeah, but at that point there were
that was
when I wrote
6.
about it, yeah, maybe
5 or 6 or 7.
But I remember the first day I walked outside after we let most of these birds go, and I just opened the basement door, and 8 starlings.
They were waiting for you.
They flew right in my face.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
where's my food?
Yeah, I've got a video somewhere of one of them flying right into the camera.
Yeah,
I mean, they just came right, and it
we're
was
not
crazy.
going anywhere. This is our home.
Yeah, and
it's not typical for a starling. I mean, sometimes they just go and you never see them again.
I mean, it's kind of fun in a way to have these birds around that will land on your shoulder, but it's not fun to have 8 of them follow you all over the yard.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying
to be fed every half hour.
We have a geothermal system that takes our well water and runs it through. And just a second. Okay, we just moved in the other room because while the ambient sounds are nice, one of our birds got a little bit up. I don't know, maybe because we were talking loud or something. So anyway, we had to move in here.
They won. We left.
Yeah, we abandoned the company of the birds, and now we're in with the cats. But I think they'll be.
They won't start meowing.
Oh, and now I hear Dusty talking in the background.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we have a geothermal system, and it uses our well water in the winter to heat us, and then in the summer to cool us off. So I was outside. You don't want to just waste that water, so we use it to sprinkle Linda's garden. So I was hooking up the hoses, and I'm trying to work, and the whole time I'm trying to work, I've got these starlings on me, pecking at me, pecking on my shoulder. They're down by...
It's like the Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Yeah, they're down by my
birds.
hands while I'm working on stuff, and it was amazing. So...
and they left all at once, just like the wrens did.
Yep, they did.
It was a good thing.
Yeah, it was a good thing. Wow, we're at 19 minutes into the show already, so and we didn't even take a break. So right now I'm going to say you are listening to What Were You Thinking with Bob and Linda Tart, and we'll be right back.
What Were You Thinking? We'll be right back after Bob gets the ducks out of his living room. Don't go away.
There's a movement afoot. ShoeBuy.com. Join the millions of people who shop ShoeBuy.com's over 400 brands and 500,000 products. Order now and get free shipping and free return shipping. ShoeBuy.com, the world's greatest shoe store.
Walk your dog in style and comfort. Enter the code THINKING, THINKING, at checkout and get a 10% discount plus free shipping at ShoeBuy.com.
Love your pets but wish their medications were a lot less expensive? They are at 1-800-PET-MEDS. You'll not only save on flea and heartworm medications, but on prescriptions for arthritis, incontinence, thyroid, and more. And you get fast service, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Plus, our licensed pharmacists ensure accuracy, monitor drug interaction, and more. See why over 5 million people have trusted their pet's health to 1-800-PET-MEDS, America's largest pet pharmacy. Call now or order online.
Go to petmeds.com/what, WHAT, to get 10% off any order and free shipping on orders of $39 or more.
At Petco, we really love pets. There isn't anything we won't do to make sure they're getting the best products and the best care. So when you ask us a question like,
so how do you feel about cat condos?
We can say from experience,
Feels like home. For her.
Enter the code WHAT, WHAT, and save 10% on orders of $65 or more, plus free shipping at petco.com.
Hello? Danica, where have you been?
Oh, Grandma, I've been busy, racing, GoDaddy girl.
Oh, I built my own online store with GoDaddy.
Really? Let me see. Grandma'sAuction.com. Hey, are those Grandpa's golf clubs?
Grandma needs her bingo money.
Use promo code WHAT10, WHAT, the number 10, and get a .com domain name for just $7.49 at GoDaddy.com. If you ask the question, what do I want? What do I need? I'll take affection. I really should mention I need time, I need love, I crave attention. This is me waiting by the door, with shaking tails and happy hearts, and running circles round the floor. That's always when the party starts for me. They are my friends, they are my children, they are the furry.
I Love My Pets, the new single by Mark Winter, available in iTunes.
Welcome to Sassy Seniors, a show about our fabulous older dogs and cats. I'm your host, Kelly Jackson. I wanted to create a show to really showcase our senior pets. And, as the human population ages and lives longer, of course, so are our wonderful pets. But many of us with aging pets, it's so interesting. We have a tough time realizing or really admitting that they are seniors. So, in a way, I kind of like to think of our senior pets as wise puppies. What do you think about that? Be sure to join us for another edition of Sassy Seniors. And remember, celebrate your senior pets.
Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com. Okay, ducks are in the pond, rabbits in his hutch, and monkeys... Ow! In my car! Oh, okay, well, I go check my insurance policy. We'll turn you back over to Bob.
And we're back again. Boy, the time has flown already.
Having a good time.
Yeah. Do you want to maybe talk quickly about the hummingbirds and then...
Well, we've had hummingbirds the last few years, and so, but they took a while to get here this year. We weren't quite sure if we were going to get them, but we did. We got more than usual. I think we had maybe 5 or 6 or more. There was at least 3, and I'm going to say there's probably 5 or 6. Which they fight like crazy to have their territory of the feeder their own. They don't want anybody else touching it. Even though there's 2 feeders, there's plenty enough sugar water for everybody. They have a tendency to swarm around there like hornets and won't let anybody touch the sugar water except themselves. So it's really fun to watch them out. There's a big picture window with one of the feeders that clings to the window, and then there's one that's shaped like a flying saucer in a tree outside my kitchen window. So that's been an entertainment all summer. We still got a few of them. I'm going to say we got 3 of them at least. So that's been an ongoing pleasure all summer long, watching those hummingbirds. We don't seem to get them. If anybody out there knows why, or maybe this is just us, we seem to get mostly females and not the males. Early in the season, I saw the male a couple times. Whole rest of the summer, haven't seen him. I know the immatures don't have the red under the throat, but they just, I don't know what it is. They look like adults to me. But if anybody knows why that would be, that you'd get more females than males, let me know.
Okay. We were going to talk about our rooster, Julius, next, but, we got only about 10 minutes left, less than 10 minutes, so I think we should instead save that for, we can easily do another show like this. Uh-huh. So let's talk about Cedar Waxwing.
Oh, yes. That's another bird that we got from Peg Markle. We got a few at a time for the past, what has it been? A month and a half, something like that.
Usually, how many do we get? If at the most,
3
or
4. But she sent a few, then she sent a few more, then she sent a few more, then she sent a few. And then people were bringing them one by one from cities around the area where they just found one, in a nest that fell.
So I've lost track.
I don't know how total, maybe 8.
Oh, no, it's 13 or 14.
Maybe,
yeah,
okay.
13 or 14. And I think we lost about 3 of them. They didn't come to us in the best shape.
Yeah.
But we've had pretty good luck with them. But
wonderful little birds. And they're not, even if they're loudest, it's a pleasant sound. I don't mind. They sound like little crickets, kind of.
They do. It's like an extended cricket sound.
It's a very pleasant sound in general, especially in comparison to a grackle or a starling or flicker or something like that. So
now usually they're easy birds because they're kind of polite, and of course they have these they open their mouths and they're kind of iridescent red inside their mouths, aren't they?
Yeah, pinky, yeah.
Yeah, and they like eating blueberries and mealworms. By the way, we had with the starlings we had ordered 10,000 mealworms. And they ate almost all of them.
They're gone, pretty much gone. There might be just a remnant. We had to order 3,000 more.
For the Cedar Waxwings. But they mostly eat blueberries. But the thing about the Cedar Waxwings is generally when we have them, 3 or 4 we release them and they are just gone. They
never look back.
No.
Never look back.
No, they're not birds to hang around. But
I think they were talking to those starlings.
Yeah, because, what happened this year?
You kind of wonder if maybe they're taking up permanent residency.
Yeah.
Every time you walk out the door, they greet you with their little chirping sound, and they seem to be watching the door to see when we're coming out. And I think they would actually eat every half hour. We have a milk house out behind the house.
It's a stone shed.
It's a stone shed. It used to be a milk house. And we would put a paper plate up on top with a rock holding it so the wind doesn't blow it away. And we put diced up fruit on it for them and mealworms. And we have to replenish it, every hour or 2, or not even 2 hours.
Now, I guess they're eventually learning to get food on their own because we're down, we've been releasing them in batches of like 3 or 4 birds at a time. And we're down to our last batch. We had just gotten rid of the last bird, and then we ended up getting more, and so we released 5 last week sometime, right?
I don't remember exactly.
Yeah,
what it
it's
was.
hard to know. It's just been one cedar waxwing after another.
They don't go away. They're supposed to go to the river. See, we have a woods with the river behind that, and Peg Markle wanted those brought here because they live over the river. There's a bunch of wild ones down there right now that swoop over the river and eat insects. That's what they're supposed to do. But these don't seem to be getting onto that idea. We're hoping that their natural instincts will kick in at some point, and they'll just take off, and that'll be the end of it. So far, no go. It's easier to live with the buffet.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
What's the point of living at the river with those insects when you can eat fruit 75 times a day?
Yeah, but now just the fact that we probably released, before these guys, we probably released 6 or 7, and I remember 2 or 3 flew off, and we never saw them again. They just left like they're supposed to.
Right.
But then after that, we gradually stopped seeing the others. So we are down to this last
group of 4.
Yeah, and someone else just brought us another one today. So we're hoping that, like the others, that there seems to come a point when instinct kicks in, because what happens with these birds is when you first get them, they want to be hand-fed all the time.
Then they'll eat from a cup.
Yeah, and then they finally get to the stage when we can just put this little paper cup in front of them and they eat. Then they finally get to the stage where they, a lot of them, don't want to be hand-fed anymore. Most wild birds...
They prefer to kind of peck at things.
Yeah, they'll peck at things, and it's almost like they consider it to be an insult.
Right. Get the food on a plate. I'm a big boy now.
Yep, that's it. And so then I think there's another stage where they finally get wild, because for a long time when these birds fly back and come back to see us and get fed, you can reach right out and pick them up. And what we would do is, when we still thought they were kind of babyish, we have an outdoor cage. It's about like a huge phone booth.
Yeah.
And we would put them inside that overnight because we were, afraid of their safety. And it'd be no problem. They would land, and we would just close our hand around them, put them inside the fly cage.
Some of them these cedars wanted to go back in at night for a while.
But then what happens is they get wild. This wildness kicks in, and you can't really get anywhere near them.
Can't even touch them hardly.
And that's what you want to have happen.
Yeah,
that's
the ideal.
So right now we are down to 4 of them outside, and we have one that he seems to be eating off a plate. A real nice guy just brought us the bird today, a guy named Dennis. And tomorrow or the next day, I think we'll probably be able to...
He wants out, but we have to make sure that he can eat on his own.
Yeah, and I think the food is disappearing off the plate.
I think so.
He seems a little bit younger than some of the other birds.
You can tell by the length of their tail. Their tail should be at least an inch long, or is it an inch and a half?
Yeah, I just don't know. We just kind of go by how they act.
Or maybe a couple inches long. This one's tail is kind of short, so got to keep an eye on that length of that.
But they're really nice birds. I mean, starlings are just... I can't even tell you how loud just 6 or 7 of them are when you have to go into a cage with them, or even when they're young and they're in a little carrier. But 16, I mean, literally, my ears would ring when I got done feeding them. It's
a rock
brutal.
band.
Like a rock band, that's it. So it was just plain brutal.
So, yeah, but we love doing all the birds. They're all fun to do.
Oh, yeah. And so... right now we go outside and we hear the cedar waxwings in the trees peeping, and
it's a nice sound. I like it.
Yeah, it's nice.
They kind of greet us.
Yep. So
preparing for winter, birds with the winter, if you have ducks, geese, or chickens, it's a good time of the year to start feeding them really good feed, such as, I don't know if we can say names of anything. Was it called Missouri feed?
Yeah, Mazuri. It's a good brand for ducks and geese.
It has extra nutrition in it, and it'll get their feathers in really good condition going into winter. Just a good idea to really prepare them for winter that way.
Yeah, that's what zoos use. Or I think there's a Purina Gold brand or something like that. That's the same as the Missouri, and it's an actual maintenance formula. It's for people who want to keep their... We're not doing an ad. We're just telling you. It's for people who want to keep their ducks and geese for a long time, instead of a lot of the feed is designed for if you're just raising them to butcher them. I mean, that's really what it is.
So it's a really good... It makes their feathers better, definitely.
Oh, yeah. We had we're running out of time, but we had a goose outside. We've got a goose named Angel. And part of it might be because he was molting, but his feathers just looked awful. And we thought he had lice because his feathers looked a lot worse than the others. So we put some lice powder on him. But we also switched to this better food. And his feathers look great now, don't they?
I don't even think it was a problem. I think it was just that he's old and that his feathers were old.
Yep. So I can't believe we ran out of time.
Already.
We'll have to do another show in another week or so. Yeah. So you're listening to What Were You Thinking? Of Bob and Linda. I'm Bob Tart.
I'm Linda. You got any good stories about your pets? We'd love to hear them.
That's right, and we're going to be doing shows. I've just about finished writing my new book, so we're going to get back on schedule doing more shows again. And so send me an email at bob@petliferadio.com if you're interested in being on our show talking about your pets. And thanks for listening. Thanks
so much.
My very patient producer, Mark Winter, who has gone about 6 months without a show from me. Actually, he's probably happy about that.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thinking about buying a monkey? How about a ferret or a skunk? Then check out the show that will answer the burning questions. Where do you get them? What do you feed them? How do you take care of them? And most of all, what were you thinking? With exotic pet expert and author Bob Tart. Every week on demand from PetLifeRadio.com.